The new NBA season is set to kick off on the 22nd of December. There were some major trades and free agent signings this offseason. Chris, Youcef and I are discussing the most impactful moves.
So the move that I think will prove to be the most impactful across the 2021 season is the Lakers picking up Montrezl Harrell from the Clippers. Obviously, it's almost a double whammy, them getting stronger and their main competition in the West getting a bit weaker and losing one of their key players. Obviously, he was their sixth man last year. And Harrell himself, he's only 26 years old. As I said, he came off the bench last year. He managed to average 19 and 7 on a team where he pretty much had no plays drawn up for him. The whole offense went through PG, went through Kawhi, and then Lou Will when he came off the bench. And I think this is an excellent player. I think he'll come off the bench for the Lakers as well. And he'll be an excellent front court piece to pair with Anthony Davis. They also obviously signed Dennis Schroeder as well, and I think that's going to be key. Schroeder's fantastic when it comes to the pick and roll. He's an excellent ball handler. He collapses the defense with penetration, and I think that's only going to help Harrell as well. I expect him to be his main pick and roll partner and benefit that way. I just can't see where this move would have had any negatives for the Lakers. I can only really see positives. And obviously, the fact that they made their main rivals a bit weaker as well, obviously always helps.
I think I agree with you, Chris. I just wanted to add on to that. Basically, in a recent interview, he said that one of the reasons that he basically said that he wanted to go to Lakers is because of LeBron James, really, because of the leadership that he shows, and who wouldn't want to play next to LeBron James, So it wasn't a hard choice for him, really. He wasn't really fond of the two stars that the Clippers had. He wasn't very fond of Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. And to be fair, they weren't very good altogether, all round the team. They didn't do very well as we thought they would last season. So I think it's definitely a good move for him. Definitely a good move for Lakers. Definitely strengthening in numbers their side to carry on and possibly do the back-to-back.
Yeah, I have to agree with you two guys. Like, that was a very strong move, and I mean, very also bittersweet, obviously, because you really kind of strengthen yourself and weaken like your crosstown rivals. I mean, you play in the same building and then you kind of steal their best weapon off the bench. That has to be a very tough blow to kind of see him suit up opposite from you with the Lakers. And I mean, he was the sixth man of the year the past season, and he actually in the last two seasons he leads the NBA with 28 double-doubles off the bench. But there's also, I mean, Youcef said that about the interview that he gave and kind of said how fond he is from and how much he's looking forward to playing with LeBron James. But there's also people kind of speculating that he might have signed with the Lakers because his agent is the same as LeBron's and AD's agent, like Rich Paul with Clutch Sports. That was kind of the rumor going around that was kind of one of the reasons as well why he signed with the Lakers. But apparently he then came out and said that's not the case. But who knows?
Yeah, and it's been a very cohesive offseason when you take everything into account for the Lakers. I thought at times last year, some of the moves the Clippers made, they might have been good moves on paper, but they weren't really addressing, key weaknesses they had. Everyone knew last season the Clippers needed that facilitator point guard to come off the bench, which they never kind of got. But I think every move that the Lakers have made so far, whether it's getting Schroeder in to replace Rondo or getting in Gasol when they had to let JaVale and Dwight Howard go. And of course, bringing in Harrell as well. It's been really cohesive, and they've managed to replace everything that might have been lost, and also add some as well. And obviously, they signed Wes Matthews, which I think will help with their spacing. He's an excellent shooter himself, and I think they've made some excellent moves. But together, they're even better, and the way these pieces are going to complement each other when they're all on the court together.
Yeah, for me, I guess the shocking move for me was Westbrook leaving the Rockets last season. It's another one we thought what a brilliant matchup, him and Harden. And to be fair, it's the opposite. It hasn't really worked out. And to be fair, from what I've seen, uh, the Rockets pretty much got rid of Westbrook because of Harden. They're scared in case Harden decides to leave, because there was a lot of speculation of him leaving the Rockets. So they thought, why not leave? Why not Westbrook leave? And bring in John Wall instead. So it's they've pretty much done it, I guess, for Harden, because it's very hard to have two elite players. Let's be honest. And Harden, over the years, has played brilliantly for the Rockets. So for them, it was a no-brainer. They had to get rid of one of the elite players and bring someone that Harden can play off. And yeah, for me, it's sort of shocking, because I thought the two of them would play brilliantly, but clearly they just can't. They outplay each other. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's definitely the move has definitely been made because of Harden and to kind of keep him happy. But I think he apparently still wants out, or there's still rumors going around that he is still not really happy and that he kind of still wants to leave the Rockets. But I think for him, in the end, he just desperately wants to win that title. But I'm not sure that's actually the chances are not gonna be better with John Wall, because I mean he's coming off like an Achilles injury, and that takes time, and he might never be the same player that he was. And the contracts for both players are similar, so they didn't make up any cap space in trading Westbrook away. And he's a former MVP and a 9-time All-NBA player, and Wall is only a 1-time All-NBA player. So I'm not sure that move's going to work out for the Rockets, but that was definitely shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, Seb, I would definitely agree with you. I think Harden's leaving as well. I don't think John Wall being brought in is going to be anywhere near enough to keep Harden there. With coming off the Achilles injury, I guess you don't really know whether they'll ever make a full recovery, and I don't think we'll see the John Wall that we saw from 2016 when he was averaging 23, 11, and 4. And not only might you not be getting that player, you've also traded away an MVP of the league who's averaged a triple-double for 3 straight years, obviously before last year. On paper, it could be a move that works for both teams if that 2016 John Wall can make a reappearance. He's got an extremely big contract, as you already mentioned. Some people have been calling it the worst contract in American sports. But when you take Westbrook and you give him, and you pair him with Harden, those are two ball dominant players who always struggle to be the second option. When you put Westbrook on the Wizards with Bradley Beal, who again only 27, he's an all-star. He managed to average 30 points last year with pretty much no talent around him. And I think those two will be a much better fit than Harden and Wall. And I think this is a trade, even though the Wizards did have to give up the first round pick as well, I think this is a trade that the Wizards won easily.
Okay, so for me, kind of the best move, or like one of the best moves in this offseason, was the Chris Paul trade to the Phoenix Suns. I mean, they were already an ascending young team, and actually in the restart, they just kept winning and didn't lose a single game. They won all their games in the bubble after the restart. And they have, like, with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, they have 2 young players that are just getting better and better. And then also they have Michael Bridges with it as well. And yeah, Paul, although he's 35 years old, he's still like directed the offense for OKC last season and averaged over 17 points a game. So he will fit in great and can be the setup man for Booker and Ayton, kind of take the pressure off them. And yeah, it's very important for a young team to have kind of that veteran presence to lead them towards the playoffs.
Yeah, and when you acquire Chris Paul, you're obviously acquiring a fantastic player, a point guard. You're also getting the guidance that he'll bring to those younger players. And Phoenix do potentially have a couple of young stars, like you mentioned. I think Devin Booker is already a star. He's a fantastic player. And the addition of Chris Paul is obviously only going to help that. Obviously, he came over from Oklahoma City for a first-round pick, and we know what Oklahoma City are doing by stacking all of those first-round picks. And I think this move could be one that definitely elevates the Suns into maybe not a top 5 team, but definitely challenging in and around those spots. We know the West is stacked, Lakers, Clippers, Mavericks, Nuggets, Jazz, Rockets, it's stacked with good teams here. But now Devin Booker finally gets that running mate, that 1-2 combo guard who's also an elite defender on the other end. And then you pair that with Cam Johnson and Michael Bridges, like you said, who are 2 fantastic 3-and-D forwards. And then they've maybe not got as much depth as other teams. That could be what holds them back. But I expect this move of Chris Paul to elevate the game of the young stars. And we all know what Chris Paul brings himself.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of you. Like we see he's a veteran, he's going to bring leadership qualities. We've seen that in his last team, Oklahoma City Thunder. He sort of had such a young team, and they still managed to get 5th seed in the Western Conference. So they sort of have brought him he's sort of coming into another young team, and him himself, he's saying, I'm not just here just to teach the young ones, because he's there to actually learn from these young players as well, because it's sort of, he's there to help the team. So it is a great move, I have to admit, and it can only get better for the Suns. So yeah, he's a great mentor and teacher, and hopefully good things to come. I can't see them challenging like Chris said. However, I do think we will see some great basketball coming from that team.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see them like fighting for maybe. I mean, I think they're going to make the playoffs, but they could fight for like a 6th, 7th seed. And yeah, I mean, Paul will also be like reunited with Monty Williams, who coached Paul in New Orleans over a decade ago. So that familiarity with the coach definitely helps him probably transition to the new team.